Who's the fittest cricketer who you think epitome of fitness from a cricketing standpoint?
If you take globally, I think Virat Kohli.
You look at Virat, it's visibly very different that he's 2-3 steps above the others.
Everything matters. It's not only his training, it's his sleep pattern, eating pattern, the way he takes care of himself, the way he recovers.
So I noticed you're wearing a Whoop as well. I think now it's become part of lifestyle for most people who are looking to be healthy.
Whoop has played a very important role to understand myself. I track every metric in this. In terms of your recovery, what is my sleep hygiene? So this matters a lot in your athlete's career.
I think Indian season is about to end and then there'll be IPL, but not everyone plays the IPL. And then you would have a window where it's technically off season. So what do cricketers do in that window?
I don't think there's an off season, I would say. They have a lot of tournament which goes on. I think Bumrah, Siraj, Shami coming into picture has changed big time. I think people want to bowl quick now.
In your point of view, what are the qualities of a good coach?
Sport is passion. Sport is played for fun. Imagine an 8-year kid, you're sending them to an 8 to 5 desk job. What is going to happen to them? You don't have to give them so much pressure. Just because I've played cricket, I don't want to push my son into playing cricket.
What are things a parent can do? They have an aspiring athlete in their family.
One is stop putting pressure. Second, try and educate them. The third, try to find a right coach. Come what may, try and back your kid. Back then it was still that old school where if you start lifting weights early, you don't grow.
But why did they say that? Was there some kind of scientific research? Or just...
I don't know why that went around, but in fact it's opposite.
Avinash, thanks for taking time out to do this. Like we were just discussing, I played a lot of cricket in my young days and I feel a lot of who I am today, my character has actually been shaped by the time I spent as trying to become a professional cricketer. At some point I realized I probably don't have it. So I took a detour and then ended up doing what I'm doing now. But it's always great to speak to someone who's involved in sport. I think I keep joking in the office also that sport is my passion and advertising and what we do here is like a professional choice, something I have done as a very distant plan B. So great to sit down with you and speak about a sport that is my favorite in the world, I would say. I was just going through your background and things and I realized that you were a player then who transitioned into a fitness entrepreneur, right? Very curious to know, when did this love of the sport start? When did you start playing and what are the early influences you had?
Hi, thank you for inviting me here. I think I'm very excited to be here. And my cricketing journey started way too early. When I was, I think, 4-5 years, I was playing tennis ball in my house. And then one of my uncles realized that I had that passion to play the sport, or he wanted me to pursue the sport. So he put me into an academy. So that's where my journey started. So when I went into BPCA,
nice.
BPICA it was, so back then. So that is where I started my journey, cricketing journey. And from there, it was all about passion driving us, going into practice matches. And that was it became a lifestyle. It became completely into us. It's so beautiful. If I look back when I started my career and then to be part of this sport, it's very special. This sport, I feel it's really special for me, very close to my heart. I still have so much passion when I do my work in strength and conditioning, when I go into team sport. But when I'm there, I still feel I'm a player and I absolutely talk to all my boys like the way I used to be then. But it's just a small thing what I'm doing.
And we have another similarity I figured. So I indirectly started my cricket coaching journey with BPCA because they would send coaches from there to our schools. So I think there was someone called Praveen Kumar who was my first coach from a leather ball and structured cricket perspective. I think I was about 7 when I started that journey. So yeah, I think BPCA was in NRA grounds, Palace grounds. Yeah, I think very famous.
Yeah.
Great to know. So you started at the age of 5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's young, right? So when did leather ball start?
I think in the age of 7. That was my first academy experience.
Right.
When I joined BPICI, when I said, that was my first experience of leather ball.
Are kids today also starting around the same age or earlier or later?
Yeah, I think kids today start somewhere around same age, around 5-6. But some of them have seen some kids are really good at age of 4, 5 or 3, you can say.
Really?
Yeah, it's really mesmerizing to see kids being so enthusiastic about this sport and they're so involved and the parents are so involved right now.
But do they play with leather ball in that young age or is more tennis ball and having fun?
They play tennis ball, but somewhere they go into academies. That's where, I mean, I've seen a lot of fathers getting into coaching. So they start making their kids play in the leather ball, and some bowling machine used, or very, very, very basic things.
Right. So you said your uncle was a influence. So did your parents support you from
Yeah,
a
yeah, definitely. My parents were, I think, whatever I am today is because of them, because they never questioned me till now. Whenever I wanted to shift my career, they never questioned me. They said, that's your job, that's your wish. When I started playing cricket, also, they were always there with me. My dad used to take me to the games. I mean, I still remember till I was about 23, 24. I think I got into Ranji Trophy probables when I was in 21 or 22. That is when my dad stopped coming to games, but he used to still come and watch the games, but he stopped driving me to games was then. But till then, every game, he's watched my every game.
This is very important, no, because like now I study a lot about like athletes, how they're made, and then the role of youth sports and the ecosystem. One thing that comes across everywhere is that most cricketers or most athletes who make it professional, right, they have a very strong family support system. Without that, it's almost impossible. And I don't know how many like examples are there, but anyone you pick in world today who's at a high elite level of sport, they've had a very strong foundation at home. In football, there's a famous book that says football starts at home. It's a very famous one by an author called Tom Byer. He talks about how like if you're at home just hitting the ball or just with the football in your feet, you're just likely to develop the non-training hours, right, of your sport. So that's very interesting. I didn't get that. My parents were very against me taking up sport, so maybe it checks out in terms of what direction I had. But today I think a lot more parents have a lot more awareness, right, in terms of be it with IPL or be it just information that comes online. So I'm assuming they're a lot more involved, and they also have a sort of a structured or unstructured thought process in terms of this is what my kids should do, probably, right?
Yeah, I think it's like a blessing in disguise, I feel. Because back then there was no IPL, there was just playing cricket for passion. Now there's so much cricket and so much money is involved. The parents are so much involved, they start putting pressure on kids way too early. I feel that is somewhere hampering. I think that level of passion goes away. That takes away from the kid. Imagine at the age of 7, 8, your father or your parents, whoever is there supporting you, are constantly putting pressure on you. Instead of saying that, okay, you're doing good, like you love the sport, just go and explore the sport. So I think that is a missing piece. Otherwise, yes, good part is that they're pushing everyone into sport. That is a good advantage, that a lot of kids are coming up into sport and they're taking up different sport. So as I said, it's a blessing in disguise.
Right, right. So when I was reading up about you, I read that you were a wicket keeper, right? I tried wicket keeping for 1 year, okay, when I was 13, just purely because I just wanted to try it. But I want to know why wicket keeping. How did you specifically fall in love with that?
Uh, Actually, I was an all-rounder when I started. So there was a school game which I used to open the bowling for the school and batting as well. So apparently, I mean, I don't know, I should be talking about this because it's very embarrassing for me. The first over of the game, I bowled 24 balls in a over. My coach is like, what are you doing? I think you should stop bowling and start thinking of something else. And then that is where his name is Shankar, and he guided me towards keeping. I said, you have good hands. I think you should take up keeping. I think that will be very, very similar, because he said he saw my hand-eye coordination and being there, taking good catches in close in field. So he said that's where my wicket keeping started. But then, yeah, the passion grew. As I went, there was a lot of competition, and then I started loving keeping, because I was center of attraction there all the time, because I had to be involved all the time. I have to be involved with the captain. I had to be involved with my teammates and keep guiding the game. I am the driver of the game. So that gave me a lot of thrill to be part of and take up wicket keeping as even more seriously.
What age did you first wicket keep?
I think I was around 14, 15. When I was in school,
Right,
14,
right.
15, somewhere there. Yeah.
Right. And who were your idols at that time, like from a cricketing lens?
I think Sachin Tendulkar was always my idol. Like all of us, I think we have all copied the way Sachin used to bat at home, and we used to mirror him in this thing.
Yeah.
As the time went by, I think Rahul Dravid, Sachin, we just saw them like playing on the screen, like the way they used to play cricket, or that passion was unbelievable. And then and the end part of it, I think MS Dhoni played a big role in my this thing, and even Virat Kohli because of his fitness.
Right.
That's where I think
Yeah.
my fitness as a SNC, I think he's one of the guy who moved me into taking up fitness very seriously as I grew up, because I was a little fat kid. I never used to be a fit kid when back then. And then once I saw Virat Kohli, I think he had posted a selfie of his about his six pack. So that's when it moved me. He said, like, the guy who's playing India and he can be in that great shape, why not me? Why can't I be? I think that changed everything for me
Right.
from there.
Right. So, what age did you get into the state team the first time?
First, when I played was under 14. I think I was about 12, 13 years. So
Right.
that back then.
What was the approach back then for fitness from a state team perspective?
I think it was not much. It was just that basics. You just run around the ground. You do some. There was nothing like a structured plan or something. So that back then it was all like still that old school where if you start lifting weights early, you don't grow or you don't grow tall. I mean, there's a lot of agenda which comes that time, but.
But
It was.
why did they say that? Like, was there some kind of scientific research or just rumors, hearsay that just went around and everyone just said it?
I don't know why that went around, but yeah, that was there's no scientific evidence. I think, in fact, it's opposite. The earlier the kid starts doing things, like starts training, I think their neural development will be much better. There's a lot of research on this, actually, youth development program. There's a lot of research, and I'm very much involved in that, because I my passion right now is to train these young kids and educate them. More than training them, it's about educating them.
Right.
So that's where I'm into. Like, I want to educate these parents and educate these kids how they can train themselves to be a better kid, better athletes later on.
Right. So I'm assuming if like all through your youth cricket, there was not real much focus on fitness. It was more traditional way of how things were done. When you played Ranji or when you went to KPL, for example, did things change there or was it still the same?
It changed. Actually, it changed back when I was, I think, 17, 18. I think.
What year was this?
I think this was about 2009, 10, somewhere around, not 9, 10, I think around somewhere 2007, 8, somewhere there. I think where Indian team also, you could see Yuvraj Singh dive around, you see Mohammad Kaif dive around. I think that's when everything changed. I think fitness was taken seriously. So when the fielding was such an high intensity, and then if you're not fit enough or if you're not agile enough, I don't think you will be fitting into the side. So right now that is the agenda. If you can contribute a little with ball and bat, but if you're an amazing fielder, you have a plus point over above everyone.
Yeah.
So that is when it changed.
Yeah.
So that is when fitness came in. That is when all the aspects of fitness, all your performance training came in.
Yeah, and I think the time frame you're talking about in that era, probably Australian team and South African team were the ones who probably were flag bearers of fielding and being fit, right? Because I remember I think South Africa and Australia had 11 players who could all field, who were all amazing fielders. It's very rare you found a player who couldn't.
I think that was, I mean, the rumors was that time it was, they're all genetics. They were genetically gifted, but they had work. They had a structure which is already in place. They had academies in level. So everything came out of academies. Look, they had strength and conditioning coaches, they had physiotherapists, they had every support staff needed for them, psychologists, everyone who were backing them and who was there to support them, educate them. So that is where everything changed. I think even now, I think, now strength and conditioning has come up a long way, but still I feel we are somewhere 10 years behind the world scenario as of now.
Right. Still?
Yeah, I think still.
When you say world, what do you mean? Like West, like US?
Somewhere, I think, when if it comes to cricket, I think it's Australia. We're there, but we're not there, I feel. Because in Australia, everything is structured. Still here, we still have that old school mentality, even at the grassroots. I'm not talking about the top level. Top level, I think, you are there. Like when you go into Indian team, you have all the facilities and all. But the grassroots is what matters, I feel. Because grassroots, if you can improve that, you can educate people, and if you can give that infrastructure to them and then give that guidance, I think even now you can see see a Jaunty Roach. Why not? We can have a Jaunty Roach in our team. You have Ravindra Jadeja there. You see Indian team now, because we have infrastructure. You have so many people guiding them. I think we have one of the best fielding side right now.
Right.
You compare like Australia, we're there, almost there, in terms of talent, in terms of fielding.
Right. So when you say at the grassroots level, is it a function of facilities or is it a function of technical knowledge of coaches, or is it just that there are more people into fitness in Australia as a society?
So what happens here is here the drawback is if someone has played the sport. Imagine I've played a sport. My role is to, in terms of getting the technical aspects, in terms of skill aspects, I want to get the skill aspect better. But what happens in India is, as a coach, as a skill coach, I interfere in my SNC program as well. I ask them to run, I ask them to do some stuff. There's no structure to it. If you don't have a structure, if you're doing something random, though, your performance or your outcome is going to be random. So if you have a structure in place, everything. So I think if this is there, if the structure is there, I think you can see a lot more development which is happening. So imagine, if I can give an example, if a normal academy which runs, if they can hire a good SNC or a PE teacher, if they can educate them of how to warm up, how to do a bit of stretching, how to do yourself for sprinting, how to use a medicine ball, very basic things.
Right.
So I think the things will change, because every day is an opportunity. For as a kid, every day
Right,
is an
right.
opportunity, because at young age it's all about wiring yourself and rewiring yourself. So they say that's why you should never specialize one sport way too early.
Mm,
So that's why they say you have to play multiple sport, because
right,
that's about wiring yourself. That's about adapting to different environment. Playing different sport will adapt you to different environment.
right.
So you don't get burnt out. Once you are, you know, when you are matured enough, you can choose a sport and you will be good at
Right.
many sport.
Right. So this is very interesting, right? Because there's obviously a famous case study or story of A.B. de Villiers, who's played so many sport, and you can see the difference in him. I don't know if there are similar examples, but I'm assuming Australian culture in general has this, right? They all play a lot of sport, a lot of fitness, a lot of surfing, a lot of beach and outdoor trekking based activities. So I'm assuming that also adds to their overall development. But is there a sport that you recommend that someone should pick up as secondary sport that's good for cricket at a young age?
I think playing as many sport as possible is better. So I think, if you take like that, if you want to be good at strength, you can pick up gymnastics. It's good of body weight. You can do multiple skills over there. They'll teach you how to cartwheel, how to jump, how to land, how to do a pull up. That's where you can use your body weight and understand how to use your body weight against the gravity. If you take running, if you get into athletics, they'll teach you good running mechanics, which is very helpful for you as you keep going, because that is where locomotion is all through life. If you're walking, if you're playing a sport like cricket or football or basketball, you're always running. So if you have a good mechanics, then you could be better at that sport. And then swimming, it's one thing I feel most kids need to learn, because it's one is life skill. The second part is that you enjoy it. You enjoy
Right.
that doing that sport. You'll enjoy more. And then it's like a cardiovascular system also. You works your cardiovascular system. So that way you can choose these three sport. But I would suggest, if you can play badminton, it's good for hand-eye coordination. You play tennis, it's good for hand-eye coordination. You can play soccer, you can play basketball. So every sport has a different aspect of skill learning. If a kid can pick up all the sport by the age of 11, 12, imagine a kid, if you have well all-rounded athlete, then you imagine what he can do when he's 14, 15, once he gets better and once he gets matured enough.
Right. That age, the number you said is very interesting, because globally now there's a lot of conversation about how kids, their brain really doesn't develop till they are 8, 9, 10. That's when you start you're in a position to actually understand the technical side of the game. Until then, it's all about having fun, right? More or less. Is cricket also approached the same way?
Yes, see, everything is approached the same way, because when we are born, I think we are wired, like we are wired into too many things. But once you don't do things, you're getting unlearned. So as a kid, you have to keep playing different sport. Imagine if you're playing cricket, you're yourself wiring into one thing. There's a lot of neural development which happens till the age of 11, 12. After that, it's about when you hit the puberty, it's a different ball game. When you hit your hormones, it's a different ball game. Because when you're young, it's all about nervous system. It's all about nervous system. So if you can pick up and hit a ball, it is not about how good you're hitting the ball. It's about how you can do the hand-eye coordination, how you can watch the ball, how you can hear that sound. It's about balance, coordination. It's about getting your nervous system wired. As I said, it's getting your nervous system wired in that aspects. So it's all about, we call it as neural myelination, we call it as neuroplasticity. So which is all of those terminology which happens till the age of 11, 12. So if you're playing cricket, if you're playing football, if you're playing any sport, then you're getting wired that way. What we call as in future, what we call as your muscle memory or whatever. There's nothing called a muscle memory. That's all about your synapses. How you can form those synapses when you're young, build those foundation with all the sport. Then when you get into 11, 12, when you hit the puberty, then you start training like an athlete.
We have to talk about this entire transition of fitness wave that's come in cricket, especially from an Indian perspective, which is of course from Virat, right? I think just the general awareness, even for a fan, when you read about fitness and cricket in general, the conversations post 2013, 14, 15 is radically different from before, and I think you can see that in the Indian team as well. You probably have had a closer look at that, right? What like I had Chris from Outfit here, and he spoke about the cultural shift in the Indian team because of lifting, powerlifting, etc. But according to you, what are the things that Virat has done, which probably, and what is the methods of training that he's introduced, which has been a game changer?
What Virat has done is, one is self-discipline. He's just spoken about that, like how you can be disciplined at that level. Imagine having everything at your end and still being so disciplined. One is that. The second part is being consistent. Being consistent in doing what you have to do. Like you're eating. None of them, that didn't matter too much when back in 2007, 8, we didn't have too much knowledge about what was eating, like how you have to be eating and what is the right kind of food to be in. An athlete, main is nutrition and your sleep. So that was not aware. When after Virat came in, I think there's a lot of things which came back. In terms of when Virat came in to training, it was about he transforming himself from the way he looked. One was that. The second part was Olympic lifting, which came. That was, again, it's a Western culture where they started lifting, and your power cleans, your snatch, which helped them to be more explosive, which can translate into the sport, like being explosive. So that took a real shift. I think everyone like wanted to learn that skill, and everyone started working towards that. I think that is one of the shift which happened. And then his ability to be on the ground, to be so fast, be so swift on the ground, to reach the ball, and being so street smart, still thinking so many things, that comes under agility. So so these are the aspects I feel that he changed in terms of in India, what you can see the cricketers right now and back then.
Right. When you watch him play, he has a bit of a explosiveness about him, right? Like whether he's fielding at the age of 37 now, I mean, he's 37, I think, right? He feels in the boundary. He will do boundary to boundary. If you put him in close circle, also he's like extremely quick, agile. There's a like when the ball goes to him, much like Jadeja, they say that teams don't want to take a double; they will settle for a single. But with Jadeja, it's his arm that gets the credit more than anything else. With Virat is overall, but I feel he's still at his age that he is. He's just incredibly explosive. I don't understand how we don't have more people in the early 20s, for example, in our team. Or even globally, when I look at it, I mean, sure, I think New Zealand has a few, and you'll find few in South Africa, Australia also. I think there's a player, Joel Paris, I think, who gets a lot of credits from BBL. Yeah. But you look at Virat, it's very different. It's very visibly very different that he's 2-3 steps above the others.
Yeah, I think, see, that's what I told you. Everything matters. It's not only his training, it's his sleep pattern, it's his eating pattern, the way he takes care of himself, the way he recovers. See, what the misconception of everybody in the sporting world is, the more you do, the more you get better. Right. It's not that. See, imagine you're batting, like you have a game tomorrow and you're batting 5-6 hours, and then you're tired, and then when you go into the game, you're not fresh enough. But it's other way around. You need to be as fresh as possible for the game to perform. So Virat is taking care of that. He's focusing on the quality, not the quantity wise. So he's doing that. He's going and hitting the nets. He's going back. He's doing his gym session, whatever. He's doing his routines. He eats well. He hydrates himself well. He sleeps well. So that is the missing part, I feel, in a lot more people. Like when it comes to globally, or when it comes to India or anywhere, when people are not educated, they don't focus on these small things. These are the main missing piece, where you sleep, train properly, eat properly, like in a limited quantity. It's not like imagine you overfeed yourself, you've become lethargic, you've become slow. The same way, you over practice yourself, you're burning out yourself. there is something called hard work, but you need to understand hard work with smart work will only take you up, not only hard work.
Right. I'm sure you keep an eye on the domestic circuit. Is there anyone else coming through that you've looked at from a fitness standpoint and said exceptional?
I think there are a few people. I cannot name like certain people or something like exactly these guys. There are a lot of people who are changed now, but that, as I said, I think, see, that is where the the game changer is from. Like the way you see in Australia, where in India is, because people here still believe in that, putting in that, if like putting in those hard efforts. But I mean, I always try to educate them is that instead of burning yourself out, try to be as fresh as possible. Do that work, do that quality work. Don't just try to do. Imagine, okay, fine, you have an off season, a long off season, then you still can work. But when you're getting into the season, you need to be as fresh as possible to perform there. You
Right.
need to be, imagine if I have to sprint for a ball for 30 meters, I have to be as fresh as possible. If I'm tired, I don't think I'll be sprinting as fast as possible for that ball.
Right. And talking about the seasons, like I think now, I think Indian season is about to end, and then there'll be IPL. No, but not everyone plays the IPL, and then you would have a window, I think, from May until September, where it's technically off season. So, what do cricketers do in that window, or how are things changed from before to now in terms of how they take care of themselves?
I don't think there's an off season, I would say, because
Really?
they have Dulip Trophy. They'll play
Right.
Dulip Trophy, and they play, what is that, rest of India. They have some India
Irani,
A
yeah.
games. They have a lot of tournament which goes on. So if you technically see that, they don't have an off season.
But does not everybody will play those tournaments, right?
Most of them do that, but some of them, if they're not playing, I think they would be going to England. There would be
Right.
some people going there and playing that minor county or county just to
Right.
get some practice, because a different condition you can get better with playing fast bowlers. Some people still feel that, okay, I want to work on something like my fitness. They still work on their fitness. If you take Karnataka, they still play a lot of games here. Look, they play Timapaya tournament, they play Maharaja League, they have some T20 leagues which goes on here.
Right.
They have some domestic games here also, which they local games which they have to be playing, and that is how I think as a cricketer, I don't think you'll get an complete off season as such. Either you get a month, a week, 2 weeks. That's how it looks for
Right.
an.
So I think it's harder then in terms of ability to switch off, turn back on, and maintain the body. Because if your body is all the time in action, then it's very hard for you to also to introspect, right? What's working, what's not. So
Yeah.
how do you help in that case?
So I think it's more psychological also, because
Right.
imagine you're away from home for 6-7 months, you're not meeting your family, then you don't have that time, but you're still getting burnt out. But ability, when you get a small break, how you can switch off, enjoy with your teammates, enjoy with your mates or your buddies, whoever you have, close friends, call them up, meet them, just go out for dinner, switching from cricket, and then going into as I said, if you're going into meeting your friends, I think that would be great.
Right. So the balance between just
Yeah, life, you
leisure
have to
and
work. They always say, it's work-life balance. It's actually very tough for an athlete, because when you're at top, you have a lot of expectation of a lot of people. It's not only expectation. Imagine they get burnt out playing throughout the year. So there's a lot of psychological factors which plays into that.
right. On that note, I want to ask you, because I'm sure there was a time in your career when you said, okay, now I'm out of cricket. I need to look at other aspects, or be it in fitness or on entrepreneurship. What was that transition personally for you like, and when did you have that realization?
So I think this one happened around 2017 in the Maharaja League. So I think that was a very lean period I had, a very low patch for me as a cricketer. Like, I didn't get much runs, and then uh, I think that was a lean phase for me. I couldn't even understand what was happening, because I was working hard. I was still going to practice. I was still working hard, but in terms of the runs, I was not there. The way people used to expect, the way I had to score runs, I was not doing that. I think by then I had already made myself realize that I should be in terms of fitness, I have to be the best. Man, as I told you, I saw Virat, and then that transition to me. I think by then I'd already realized that I have to train hard, and then I have to practice hard to be there. Yeah, I mean, that was something which I still I don't repent, but that was a learning lesson for me. But if I go back and if I have to change, I would just reduce the volume of practice or volume of training I was doing at that point. I would be more relaxed, I would say, okay, I was overthinking, and that led to my downfall as that time. And then I was enjoying training myself. That is where I started. Then when one of the selectors came and told me that I think it's time for looking for youngsters. I think you need to look into different aspects of coaching. That hit me hard. I mean, at first I didn't understand what he was saying. Then I went back home, I sat, and then I realized. I just went back, I just thought about it. I said, yeah, it makes sense. I was 31 around that time, and that made a lot of sense for me to just shift careers, so that it's an ideal time also. If the selectors are not looking at me, then playing just for passion, I can still play, but I think I need to look at my career also. So that is when I shifted. I spoke to a couple of people. I asked them like what can be a good option. One of the sir, like he's there, Sanat sir. So I spoke to him. He said, get into coaching, whatever aspect you like. I said, I like fitness more like right now. He said, yeah, get into strength and conditioning. You just take someone's help, get into this field. Let's see what happens. That is when I had some help in the initial stage. I started talking to people, experienced people who were there in this industry from a long time, whom I trained with before. I spoke to them. They said, come and we'll try and help you whatever possible. And that is where my journey started.
And I think being a former athlete, is it easier to make this transition versus, because a lot of people who enter fitness directly without having played sport at the highest level, or at least at a respectable level, right? What is your take on that?
It is not easy. Like if you're a good student, definitely, but when we are playing, we're not like not bothered or something. Like we're not too much keen on like putting in those hard yards. Just in exam time comes, we study and then we just get through. We just want to pass through because all our passion is towards playing the sport. So the studies take the step back. But here, this is the main agenda. Like it's your limelight, your studies, what's your certification, what you're studying. That is a limelight. So it is very tough because you have to sit for hours and study, and you have to grasp through things. Then if you don't have a science background, it's going to be even more tougher. So it is tough, but I think nothing is impossible. I think from where we have all started, I think there's a lot, like couple of them who have started with me or after me, where we have started and where we have ended up. I think we are all happy and we're putting in those hard efforts.
Yeah, there are quite a few. I think Sai Prasanna, who runs A3, so he was my senior in academy when I was really young.
Yeah.
So I remember he made the transition. I think there's also Dinesh Borwankar, who I think
Yes.
is doing something, right? I think he was the same age group we played back in Jain College. So I think there are a lot of examples. I feel now that is really opened up for cricketers in terms of figuring out other alternatives, because you look at stories from back in the day, they would take up a job in the bank or like, something corporate, and then play for the team, and then later on figure, and then eventually they'll turn into coaches, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think a lot more opportunities in that sense. And I'm assuming you can also relate with a lot of young athletes because they're trying to follow a career path that you've already gone through. And I think that also helps, I guess.
Yeah, that is the main thing. Like whoever comes and talks to me, because see, there's so much changes happened in, because when we are back then, it was only about engineering, doctor, or you are doing BCom, BBM. Now there's so many field which is opened up. So there's these kids who come and talk to me about taking up which degree can I do, or which college can I join. There are some colleges which are giving out BSc in sports science, which will really help them. So Reva College is there. They are doing a really fantastic job. So I think I would always suggest them, tell them to go there, have a look at the curriculum. It is going to help them, because once you're into sport, if you're doing something which is very related, I think it will interest you. Imagine me understanding, when I was playing, me understanding about what fitness is in terms of being explosive, how I can train myself, how I can recover myself. I would say I would be, I think, 20-30% better.
I want to ask you about this yo-yo test, right? I think that has become a very big thing, and people posting, and then BCCI saying you can't post about it, etc. For the layman, what exactly goes on in that test? What is the activity that you do?
So basically, yo-yo test is your cardiovascular test. So it's a VO2 max. So we test the VO2 max. So basically, there's a cone, 20-meter cone, and the 5-meter gap there. 5-meter, you can walk. So that's a resting interval. So what happens is we run 20 meters and back. That's a 40-meter run. Then you get a break. So you get about 7 to 8 seconds. So you go and come back. So basically, yo-yo test is how fast can you recover between bouts. So as the beep keeps going higher, the pace of your run will increase. So imagine if you're running at 10 seconds initially, then it comes down to 7 seconds or 5 seconds. You have to finish, come back. So imagine you get only 7 seconds of recovery. So that means you have to recover faster. So that will show you the ability for you to recover faster. So your cardiovascular system, that is a most important system for you to recover from anything and to sustain for a longer duration. Imagine you're playing a 4-day test matches, you have to recover from ball to ball or over to over, or even the match to match or a day to day. So you need this system to be in place. You need to have a good cardiovascular system in terms of to recover, in terms of to give your output. Imagine you have to come as a fast bowler. He has to come in the over 70th over or 80th over. He has to come and bowl back, come and bowl. If he's bowled 15, 17, 18 overs, whatever, comes back and he has to bowl in the same intensity. So this energy system will help him to recover faster for that.
And what's a good VO2 max, like a range wise?
I think 44 is a good. I think 44. I think.
Got it. I noticed you're wearing a Whoop as well. So I have one. So I think that has become part of lifestyle for most people who are looking to be healthy and who want to push themselves.
I think Whoop has played a very important role to understand myself, and I track every metric in this. I've done my blood test. I've put my blood test reports into it. I track everything, so it helps me in terms of your recovery. I just don't see recovery. I'll see how many hours I've slept. What is my sleep hygiene in terms of how many hours of deep sleep, how many hours of REM sleep, how many hours of light sleep. So this matters a lot in your athlete's career. So this gives me an understanding to understand my athlete as well. So this is a overall picture. Like, it's not only that, your HRV is most important. Your HRV plays a lot of big role in terms of the way you recover, the way your VO2 max is, and the fitness levels you are, and your resting heart rate. So there are a lot of metrics in that which shows. I'm really glad that I bought this. I've never repented, because every day I track a lot of things, and it's very easy for me to track my athletes also. So we are in a community, so I just go in the morning, just see before my athletes come into the gym. So I see their recovery, I see their HRV, has it dropped, has it increased, what is their recovery, resting heart rate, everything. By then, so that's called auto regulation of training plan. So before they come into the gym, I check this. They fill a form, they have the wellness data which they have to fill. Then they come in, they do a jump, we get to know the nervous system is ready or not. So all these metrics match, then only they're ready to go into the session. Otherwise, if one of these metrics are off, then I'm going to talk to an athlete. What is wrong? Did you sleep well? Did you eat well? What did you eat? Or your hydration is not well proper. When was your last practice session? So there's a lot of questions which we ask. So that way, for me, Whoop has helped me a big way.
Right. So the keyword I take from that is HRV, because I think for different athletes it's different scale, right? But I think body reacts differently for different people.
Yeah.
So how do you then go about customizing or creating a program as well? Because someone might do better with less sleep, for example, than somebody else who needs more. And someone might have a lower resting heart rate to somebody else. How do you decode these things?
So it's a trend. We are going to watch these trends for a long time. It's not going to be one day. So it's going to be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We see the trend. So if the trend cannot be same each day. So one day you might not sleep well. You might be, your cortisol levels will be high, so that your adrenaline also will be high. The second day that doesn't happen. If you don't sleep for 2 days in a row, the second day your HRV is going to crash, your resting heart rate is going to go high. So we are going to see these trends. So it's based on last 4 weeks, the 4 weeks of trend. So we are going to start customizing the training plan that way. So we are not going to judge them just by one session. We are going to see those trends for next 3-4 sessions and then start making decisions.
Who's the fittest cricketer you worked with?
I think Manish Pandey.
Oh, nice. Like, if you were to look at like a example to give young cricketers today, do you have a list of like, these are the guys from whichever timeline, right, who you think were like the epitome of fitness from a cricketing standpoint?
I think if you take globally, I think Virat Kohli. I think if you come to Karnataka, there are a lot of them. If you Manish Pandey, Karun Nair, you have Mayank Agarwal. So these are the guys, I've seen them grown. I've grown up with them. I've seen them, the hard work they've done, the amount of effort they put in their fitness. I still see Mayank still playing a game, still running around the ground.
And puts a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work. He puts a lot of work. He's a very hardworking guy. So a lot of people don't see that. You just see the outline of it, like he's getting 160 or getting out or whatever. They judge by that. But I've seen him very closely when we were playing under 22s. His house, he stays in Hosur. and he used to come every day,
Electronic
travel
City.
every day, and put in those work. He used to
Still
leave
does.
his house. Yeah, he still does. He leaves his house by 6:15, 6:15. Come, finish his training, have a breakfast, just rest for a while, then go bat, then have his lunch, rest for a while, bat, and then go back home. So he's put a lot of effort. So like that, as I said, Manish also has done the same thing. Karun has done the same thing. KL Rahul has done the same thing. So we have examples in our own states, and they are legends as of now. Like, they are the guys who everyone look up to, and their performance also is talking. From that's not now; it's from years. You can see their performance.
Right. Has Karnataka been fitter in terms of like a average in terms of when compared to other states?
Yes, you can see a lot of youngsters coming in, and that has changed a lot. I think now, as I said, the whole idea of fitness is changed, and you can see a lot of fitness centers. Like, you've seen a lot of performance centers, you can say, have come in Bangalore, and all these guys go to different performance centers. They train themselves hard in the off season, during the season. So that way, in terms of, we have a fielding coach, good fielding coach for Karnataka. So he has made a lot of difference as well. So in terms of fielding, in terms of fitness, I think Karnataka is at the top of the team.
Right.
I think they're doing the best, I feel.
Right. Any other state that is pushing from a bound, like from innovation standpoint, or investing more into this?
I think teams like Mumbai, teams like Kerala is doing well. Kerala is a top tier fielding team as well. I think I was part of Goa this year. I think we had a solid fielding side. I think a lot of them appreciated for that. We had a good fielding side. Teams like Maharashtra has a good fielding. I think a lot of teams have improved now. A lot of teams have the infrastructure. A lot of SNCs have come into their own states. You can see a lot of people from cricketing fraternity move into not only coaching, they move into fitness. I mean, strength and conditioning coaches, physiotherapists. So this has helped a lot for every state in India, I feel.
You know, you also spoke about this in the beginning about how at a grassroots level you need this to come in. Are there enough people like you or enough coaches at a grassroots level to help with the kind of demand that we have in our country? We have enough coaches at the grassroots level?
I think we have good coaches, but I don't know how much they can understand the LTAD model, we call that, the Youth
Right.
Development Program.
Right. No, I meant purely from a fitness standpoint, not from cricket technical, but more specifically to fitness, strength and conditioning, etc.
Yeah. So when it comes to fitness also, that LTAD model is the most important thing. So that's a
What is that?
long-term athletic
Okay.
development. So it is through your skill also, even in fitness. So through your growing age, there's a different phase which happens. So your early childhood, late childhood, when you hit your puberty, that we call as peak height velocity. That is the most crucial stage for an athlete. So because when you're growing, when your hormones come into play, so you first thing happens is you grow taller. Like, your bone development happens, then your muscle development happens. Your limbs grow faster than your muscle. So there's a lot of shift. There's no equilibrium in terms of the people don't have enough coordination at that point. So if they can train that coordination and what to be trained at that point, and then post PHV what can be trained. So if people start understanding that, I think there are few people who can understand this, and I think if more people can get into grassroots, I think it will be a wonderful thing for Indian sporting fraternity, instead of focusing only on the top levels. If you're doing Ranji Trophy or an Indian team, I think grassroots plays a lot of role. I think there are few coaches who can understand this.
Right. Right. You know, on the same lines, I want to ask you, a lot of times it was said that we can't create fast bowlers because, genetically we're not there, and then Sena countries will always have better, etc. And off late, you've started to see that change in the last 10 years, I would say, with Bumrah, Shami, Siraj, and all the other bowlers who are coming through. Has the approach is it down to strength and conditioning, or is it just that we have happened to find these odd ones, one-off cases who have sort of on their own pushed the ceiling for fast bowling?
I think it's both. I think they are one of the cases, but I can see that strength and conditioning has played a big role, because I can see a lot of fast bowlers in domestic circuit clicking 140s, 140, 145, but they've not come into limelight yet. I think there are few people who are going to play very soon. Definitely strength and conditioning has played a lot of role. I think it can be better, I feel. From where we have started, from where we have come, it's good, but still I feel you can get better with the grassroots levels, where that is where the formation happens. That is where the over burnouts happen. That is where, see, what I say is that when you have young kid coming in, don't just bury him. understand his physiology, understand his mechanics, why, what, how much to be done for that kid. Just don't be randomized doing something. Okay, you bowl 10 overs, you bowl 20 overs. That kid won't be able to do that because he's not at that level, at that capability for him to come and bowl those many overs, because fast bowling is high skilled, high, what do you call, high impactful. It's like, imagine your 10 to 12 times of body weight coming in, and you have to bowl, you have to run in, come, just put your 10 to 12 times of body weight into your lower limbs and your upper limbs, which has a lot of rotational power. That is not easy. So we need to be mindful. We need to understand that we need quality training, not the quantity ones. If an athlete, if imagine if I get a kid, if I can tell him, okay, try and bowl as quick as possible, just bowl 3 overs, 2 overs, whatever, you just see if he's getting tired, he's done. You can do that. So you can train his nervous system by that.
Right.
Just don't bury him to ground. Just tell him that, come, bowl 10 overs, 15 overs, 20 overs. Those numbers have no value. Like, I'm not saying the bowler should be able to bowl 25, 30 overs in a day, but that is a gradual progression. That is what it is. So if he's able to bowl 2 overs, next day he cannot be coming and bowling 10 overs. It should be a gradual improvement. 3 overs, 4 overs, 5 overs, whatever. So that is an improvement. That is a progression we need here.
Right. Do like more kids now want to take up fast bowling? Because when I was young, I realized everyone wanted to be a batsman, because I think that was a culture, right, in Indian cricket. If you couldn't bat, then you became a bowler. Is that changing in any way?
Yeah. I can see a lot of kids bowling, taking up fast bowling. I think Bumrah, Siraj, or even Shami coming into picture has changed big time. I think people want to bowl quick now. People realize that they can. Genetics, yes, do play a role, but we have people bowling like Mayank coming and bowling at 150. And there are a lot of people, Siraj coming, clocking 145s. You know, Shami bowling at 140, Bumrah bowling at 145. We know that Indian bowlers are capable. There are some more domestic bowlers who can bowl 140 plus, as I said already. So I think it has changed. That mindset where we had genetic play a big role, that has changed, and we have come a long way.
Right. Do you think if this approach was there in India, or this focus on fitness, bowlers from our 90s, 80s, 2000s would have bowled much quicker than they did? Maybe a Srinath, Ashish Nehra, because they were still like, they had spells of, like, Srinath I think clocked 150 somewhere in Australia, I think, at some point. So
158.
yeah, so like there are cases. So had fitness enabled them, could we have seen a fast bowling, say, culture in India much earlier? Probably.
Yeah, definitely. Fitness would have played a big role. I think they were very skillful. The bowlers back then, they played only because of the skill. Because you could see on Srinath bowling quick or Zahir Khan bowling quick. Not many were there. Most of them were 130s, 125, 130s. But they were very skillful. Imagine same bowlers who had skill and who could bowl 140. I think India would have been in a different place. I think, yeah, the way the fitness was perceived back then was different. People wanted to run around the ground for longer. Yeah, that's a good part of it. That's why they were more injury free, or they had built up their volume or built up their workloads that way. But there were different aspects. Your power training, your explosive training. If they would have understood sprinting and managed their loads better, I think they would have been. I think they would have been lethal. Right. I think India would have been top. I mean, I think back then, I don't think anybody would have even beaten India. That
Right. So at what age do you bring this in to young athletes today? Is it like when they are 10, when they're 12, 15? Like what age group, what age do you introduce this side of them starting to understand their body, them learning how to manage their recovery, how figuring out at what level do you load and not, etc.?
I think as early as possible. It's 7, 8, because once an athlete or once a kid gets into activity, that is where you need to teach them. So everything, simple things, by just asking them to sleep for 10 hours or 8 hours. Kids need more sleep. Nowadays kids are in phone. So that is, which is really big disadvantage right now. So if you ask your kid to sleep for 9 to 10 hours, that itself is a one tick for you. And then eating is a big role again. So giving them good nutritious food, that plays a role. So all this adds up to this. So everything plays a big role. It's not like bowling fast or getting fast bowlers is only about bowling. Yeah, it's about bowling. Definitely skill will play a role, but these aspects also play a role to have a better athlete. nutrition, your sleep plays an important role in your kid's career, because that is where all the recovery happens, all the development happens, all your memory consolidation happens. Everything plays a big role. Imagine if a kid is not sleeping for 9-10 hours, you're developing a serious chronic disease in your future, because sleep is one of the most important thing, and which is most neglected, and which is free, it's available, like everyone can do that. I mean, I understand circumstances, but yeah, most of them can do that. I think that should be ingrained in your kids. That's an education part. So if you keep telling that kid you have to sleep for 9-10 hours every day at the same time, that you're setting a circadian rhythm, that's you're setting your circadian rhythm, so your body is automatically knows that he needs to be sleeping at this time and waking up at this time. So all your hormone profile plays an important role in that. You sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time.
So when a kid comes to you, let's say 7, 8 years old, what is your process? How do you go through figuring out, for example, what is the, like, do you study their patterns, or do you ask for some kind of data now that you're into Whoop, and like, how, what is your method or approach?
No, we don't have. So at that point, we don't have any data. We just try and make sure that they enjoy as much as possible. Main thing is that, because once they start losing interest, no way we can get them into do what we want. So one is that keeping them engaged. Second one is that introducing them to as many movements as possible. So it's not about lifting. We'll educate them. What is that? We'll educate the parents. We'll tell them also. It's about teaching them movements, teaching them how to move, how to land, how to sprint, how to balance, how to coordinate in a very funnier way. It shouldn't be like they should be able to do some drill where it's like a military camp or something. It should be very very playful. We are doing like we have 2-3 kids just having a tug of war. That's strength, pure strength. They are trying to force against each other. Then we do a relay race, which is again they're racing against each other, but the sprinting they don't know. So these are the aspects which will help them to build as a better athlete. So these aspects we will, in that part we'll teach them how to move, as I said, how to sprint, how to jump, how to land, how to throw a ball, so, and how to use animal movements, so that they understand the gravity, understand their own body weight, teach them how to do a push up, do a monkey bar. There's so many things we teach them.
So parents are critical in this journey, right? So a lot of onus is on them to be a part, for, like, be your partner outside of the ground, to like just manage these things out. Etc. So I'm assuming you're educating them also in this process. And how do you manage that? Because again, like you said, some parents will go full throttle and then overdo it. Some may be like, okay, fine, and then just do it as a checkbox. Do you also look to find that? Like, do you find the profile of a parent and then, like, find ways to get them to do things outside of the work ground?
No, we don't find profile, but most of the parents we try and educate them like how this is going to play an important role, because most of the parents right now, as I said earlier, that they want to push them into sport. So they are forgetting that sport is passion. Sport is played for fun, or sport is played out of fun. So otherwise you'll stop losing that interest. So that is first thing we are going to educate them. First thing is that sit with the parent, try and educate them that sport is played for passion and played with that fun. If the fun factor goes, then there's no point in playing the sport. It's as good as going to any job, 9 to 5 desk job. So imagine a 8-year kid, you're sending them to 8 to 5 desk job. What is going to happen to them? So that is what I'm going to tell them. Like, you don't have to give them so much pressure. You just leave them.
Right.
You just let them enjoy, let them explore, let them understand themselves first what sport is. Just because, imagine, I've played cricket. Just because I've played cricket, I don't want to push my son into playing cricket. It's just let him explore. Because, I mean, back of my mind, I'll have that, yes, my son wants to play cricket, whatever. Like, I want him to. But that is not his passion. That was my passion. So we should allow them to explore what is their passion and ask them to choose which sport they are good at. And definitely, if it comes out of passion, definitely they're going to put in those effort. If
Right.
it doesn't, I don't think they'll burn out soon and they will fade away.
Fair. And as is, it's hard for teachers and parents to manage kids when they go through puberty and then they become teenagers. Looking back, I look at my sporting journey, and one thing that stands out is I never had this concept of self doubt before I was a teenager in any sport. It didn't matter to me because you're just like in the free spirited, right? All of these mental aspects of the game also starts after you are 12, 13, 14, and then things start playing, and then you become your own enemy in your head. That must be very critical stage, right? And you must be helping athletes go through that as well.
Yeah, I think, see, till you hit your puberty, I think it's just fun. You just go, if whatever your parents say, you don't listen. You just do what you like. But once you hit your puberty, all your testosterone, all your hormones come into play. Is when everything goes haywire. You start thinking, you start becoming emotional. Uh, that is where I think a coach and a parent will come into play. Like they say, from the age of 14 to 18, you need to be a friend. You need to be as friendly as possible to your like kids. That approach, I think, is the best one. You cannot be uh, imposing things on them. It's just that you need to be very smart enough to get things done, because we have some kids who are coming from the age of, they were 10, 9, 10, and they're now 14, 15, and the way their body language was and the way they are now, it's very different. But still we have that connection, still they understand, they talk to us. We have kept that relationship, in the sense we have just allowed them to speak whatever they want, and then we are not going to judge them. That is when they're going to back off. So it is more psychological. At that point, we need to step back. We need to understand that, okay, they're going through some kind of an emotional burst or emotional challenges. So we need to be more cautious in what we speak to them and how we guide them from there. So that will play an important role as a coach as well, because I think as a parent, that is very challenging phase. But as a coach also, it's a very challenging phase as well.
In through this, I'm also to ask you, how does all of this change or relate to women's cricket and women's sport, and if are the training methods are like, is the approach different in any way?
No, I don't think there's any different approach. Only thing is that, so we need to understand their menstrual cycle once they hit the puberty. So so there are certain phases where you have to be training them hard. You need to know when to train them, follicular phase, how to train them when they're getting into their menstrual cycle, when they're in that, just about that fourth week, how we can back them off. So it's very important to understand their menstrual cycle. Apart from that, there's no difference of training them. It's the same methodology you use. There's nothing like you use some kind of an interesting or some special method or something. They also, the body gets adapted the same way. The only thing is that they don't have enough testosterone to develop muscles like the men, but still the strength development happens. It's all neural, so strength development happens at not the same level of men, but they have enough strength for the sport, for to face their counterparts.
And I'm sure there's a huge revolution that's come in women's cricket also now, especially with WPL and everything else, and now we're world champions as well. So a lot more women or a lot more girls joining cricket at the young age.
Yeah. So before, it was, you could see that parents wanted their kids to be going and doing work. They wanted them to work, or wanted to study and do other aspects. Now it has changed. They have seen that there's a career out there. WPL, I think BCCI has done a wonderful. I think they are a role model for any sport. So this is the way you need to be forming things. So because there's no differentiation now. So even they are earning as much as men.
Yeah.
That is one of the best thing which has happened. So that they can be independent, they can think on their own, they can do what they feel like. Before it was not like that. Everyone thought women after their studies they had to get married and go and do their family or whatever. Now it's completely changed. The whole ball game has changed. I think that's a big thanks to BCCI, and parents are also getting involved now. We train a lot of women cricketers also in our gym. So the way the parents are involved now, I could not see that when I started my SNC career, but now it has changed completely. Indian team doing well, you see so many people playing for India, you see many girls getting into the Indian jersey now, you can see WPL which is coming up, you can see a lot of local leagues coming. So that's, I think amazing which has happened.
One of the things I've missed on touching is we, there's a lot of conversation today about sports specific training. And there's a lot of specialist trainers or specialist gyms that are coming through, or programs that are coming through. Like there's things for kids now are put into cricket specific or football specific from a young age, because they want them to go through that sort of early age training to get your body in place. You also spoke at the same time about them experiencing as many sports as possible, right? And there's also limited time that a kid has. So if you spend entire day just chasing sport, then they don't get to experience the other side, which is also very important when you're growing up. What is your take on that? What is your view on this?
So I mean, as you're growing up, I think, as I said, whatever they're doing, they'll get adapted. Like, you're playing different sport at that point, and you have to manage your studies and your sport. But as you grow up, so what happens? The so-called, everyone says, sports specific training. Sports specific is playing the sport. That cannot be replaced by anything, because sports happen very fast. It happens in millisecond. Imagine a fast bowler doing something with a barbell that cannot be replaced. Anything like bowling. So we need to understand the sport specific means we do need analysis. What is need analysis? It's about understanding the sport. What are the demands of the sport? What is the motor qualities which is involved in the sport? And we need to do an assessment for that. We need to get an assessment protocol, and then we need to assess an athlete. And then what motor abilities that athlete lacks, we need to start building those qualities. It's not making them play a sport itself in the gym or anywhere in the ground. The job of a coach, the skill coach, is to make him bowl and get better technical aspects. They are the person who are going to change the technical aspects. We are here. I've played cricket. I understand that a lot of them come and speak to me about batting or keeping, but I've never made them bat in the gym. I've never made them keep. We would do some kind of a lateral movements for a wicket keeper, a lot of rotational work for a batsman. That is specific. That is what sports specific, because batsman needs a lot of rotational power. So first we start with a lot of isometric work, a lot of rotational work. Then we put them into medicine ball. So that is a process. That is sports specific. As athlete starts getting better or getting closer to the season, we start introducing these aspects, these small things. As a fast bowler also, we start putting them on various jumps, some kind of power lifting, some kind of explosive work as they come closer to the season, so that they have a power expression. They can express their power better in their sport. So a lot of misconception of sport specific, doing that sport itself in the gym, which will only injure the athlete, because they're going to get overused. Imagine a fast bowler coming back after a net session, coming into the gym and doing the same thing. That is an overuse. So he will be using the same muscle. So instead of that, imagine what qualities he have to be improving to improve his skill set. So that is where we come into play. So
Right.
improve the skill set.
Got it. And how do you ensure there's no stagnation in this process, right? How do you ensure they don't get bored? They don't, like you said, burn out. How do you manage that?
So that's why the variability is important. So every program we need to understand, cannot be same. It is going to be bored. Imagine if I ask an athlete to squat for 3 months straight. We know there is a lot of importance for squat. But if I tell him to squat, front squat or a back squat 3 months, he's going to be bored, and that is going to again get into that. His performance might decrease, because once an athlete is bored, he will not be able to perform his best. So we try and manipulate there. So we try and put him on different kind of squat or different kind of variability. Imagine I'll do a split squat, I'll do a Bulgarian split squat, or I'll do a front squat, I'll do a back squat, I'll do a trap bar deadlift. So there are variations which are very important, which can be very close to the same adaptation which will gain out of it, but a little different movement. That's the only thing, or different loading. So this way we can change the variables where athletes won't get to know. They'll be thinking they're doing a new movement, but that here we know that we are trying to get the same adaptation, but athlete will think he's doing a different movement.
Another person I wanted to touch upon was Shankar Basu, and I've read about his involvement in the Indian team, and that's right about the time when Virat's transition happened as well. So, did he do something different? Like, did he bring something that was lacking from a national team perspective?
He played a huge role, definitely, but he didn't get anything new that was already there, because before an Indian team, there was always a foreigner who was
Yeah,
there as SNC.
yeah.
There was no Indians. The very rare where an Indian was. But Shankar Basu was there as an Indian
Was he the
who,
first Indian?
I'm guessing he is not, but previously I don't think they were like well recognized,
Right.
or I don't know about the education part, but I'm a little, I don't know, I'm a little blur about that. But Shankar Basu played a huge role because Virat came into play. So
Right.
he's played a role in terms of structuring things in BCCI. He was a head of NCA. He got some structure. He got some people from India itself. He started recruiting SNCs from India. He started giving opportunities from people from India, and that is where even Virat played a big role. Where Virat transformation happened. He educated Virat about how he can train himself and things. So that way he's played a big role in terms of our domestic circuit in an Indian SNC field. He's looked up really high in terms of strength and conditioning field.
Right. Anyone else like him, underrated, not in the limelight, who's you think is doing good work at grassroots or at state level, etc.
I think there are few people who are there like that. I think Anand Date sir is one of them who's there, but he was there part of NCA from 15 years, I guess, and he was part of women's team as well. And now he's come out of it and he's doing a good job. I think I can say I would say my mentor. I always look up to Rakshit Shivlingaya. I was always go back to him and talk to him. He was part of Karnataka team. He was part of Karnataka Ranji team. He's changed a lot of things in Karnataka Ranji team. He's got a structure. His level of thinking is a little different. I think he's the guy, I think, who's going to make a little. He's coming up with few plans. He has a lot of things which is lined up for Karnataka team. I think if those things line up, I think Karnataka team is going to look different. Apart from him, I think there are few SNCs who have done a decent job. I think Huzi also has played a big
Yeah,
role
yeah.
in terms of WPL and in terms of the way fitness industry looks at him, because he himself is so strong and he looks like that, and he's a very well educated guy. I can see that. I've had a couple of conversations. I don't know if he remembers that, but when I was a player, I have had conversation with him. I think, yeah, there are
Right.
some of them.
Got it. In your point of view, who or what are the qualities of a good coach in your industry?
I think in terms of strength and conditioning, good quality is how you can get adapted. See, in our field, you might you might do PhD, you might do whatever, but if you are not street smart enough to execute your plan and revise your plan immediately in terms of the way you can manipulate those aspects, there are different things. That's, if you want to get detailed, it's a little bit more detailed, but as an SNC, you need to be very street smart. Like the way you play the sport, you have to be street smart. So because you have different style of athletes coming in, different style and different background, and we need to be well prepared for that.
So, what are like the 5 things a parent can do, for an aspiring athlete if they have an aspiring athlete as in their family? What's the thing that an adult can guide them to?
One is stop putting pressure. So okay, that's the most important thing. Allow them to enjoy the sport, the way the sport has to be played. One is that. Second, try and educate them. Try and educate them with the smaller things, the way they should be eating, the way they should be hydrating themselves, the amount of sleep they need. So these are the very small things. And the third, try to find a right coach. Don't mix up your skill coach to your SNC coach. I think you need to separate them both, because both cannot do the same job. So you need to understand a skill coach can only teach skill, an SNC coach can teach only SNC. It cannot be clubbed, and it cannot be vice versa. The last important thing I would say is, what may, try and back your kid. If he succeeds, if he doesn't succeed, if you can back your kid in terms of, if he fails, you're there, right there, telling him that you're always there, don't worry. Psychologically, it'll play a big role in a kid's career. it's happened to a lot of kids, because imagine if you don't perform and then you go, you know that you have not performed. It's not like you wantedly didn't perform. You have given your best, you didn't happen, that day didn't happen. Then you go back home with a fear of your parents scolding you or trying to just say something. If you do that, that then your kid is going to go in deeper shell. It's going to be very very what do you call, it's going to hamper him in a deep way, regretful way. But imagine if he goes home, then he say, it happens, it's just a sport, go back, you have one more day, go and perform, give your best. I think is the mindset of the kid will completely change for his life. If a kid knows that he has a backing of his parent, I don't think he'll need any backbone, he'll need any kind of a push. I think that itself is much more motivated. The kid is going to be more motivated in that.
Got it. Any young athletes you're working with that we should keep an eye out for?
I think there's one kid called Dharmik. So he's a tennis player. He's been working with us from last 7 years. So when he came, he was just a kid. Now he's about 14. So I think his parents have played a big role. His parents also come and train with us. His whole family. He has 2 siblings as well. They also come and train. But at the age of 8, he was doing nutrition with Ryan Fernando. So they have given him a structure. So we have always told them, don't worry, he's going to choose what path he wants. His dad has always been like that. Tomorrow if he doesn't want to play tennis, I'm okay with it. I think that itself is a winner. I think this kid is very very explosive. I think in next coming years, I think you will see him do a lot of wonders.
Interesting. Keep an eye out for him.
Yeah.
So if anyone watching this wants to reach out, train with you, how can you help them and how do they reach out to you?
So we have our Instagram page. It's called Train to Perform, and my personal page is KC Avinash 23. We have a center at Sanjay Nagar Dollars Colony. So we train a lot of athletes, some elite to young athletes. So basically, we train even general population as well. So we have, even for general population, we have a way of assessing them and structuring out their plans. So because we feel that without structure, I don't think anything is valid, or you don't get adapted well. So even with athletes, we use a lot of gadgets. Like we use hand dynamometer, like with Weld. I think that's one of the unique in the world, or one of the best. We use jump mats, we use timing gates, and we use BBTs. So for every performance metrics, we have a gadget to measure that, so that we have a lot of data of athletes, and we know the performance marker. If the performance markers are improving or not improving, how we can revise, how we can manipulate that and get them better. So in terms of training for performance and also lifestyle, I think we're there to help people out.
So, to wrap this up, I have a personal question, which is I'm struggling with my VO2 max. I've gone off training for the last 5 to 6 months and it's plummeted. I'm trying to bring it back up again. I'm hovering at around 42. I was at 48. I've come down. What is the best or the most recommended way for me to get that back on? And what's the ideal range I should be in?
I think 48 is a good number. I think most of the elite athletes in terms of cricket fall into that place, like 44, 45 to 48 to 50, somewhere there.
I think I play football, so maybe that adds a little bit of difference, I guess, into things.
Yeah, definitely. Playing a sport like football, it's a lot of running. I think you need a lot of cardiovascular fitness there. So that is a good way to actually get it up. And if you want to get it up in terms of the way you want to train yourself, you can do some interval training. So you have a lot of other methods like intervals, like long intervals, short intervals. You can start off with long intervals, somewhere between 3 minute on, 2 minute off, of any kind of modality you want to. Like if you want to run, yes. Before that, you can test your VO2 max in terms of having a 5-minute run. Just understand the numbers. So get your time, and then we need to divide that by your distance. So we'll get a number, and then we start playing around with the intensity. So once we get the intensity, once you get the number, then we start playing around. So when you get into longer distance of 3 minute on, 2 minute off, we are going somewhere around 90% of your maximal aerobic speed. So there, that is the number. So then when you start coming down, your mass number goes up. Like you can still train at 120% of your MAS. So that is where you can improve your VO2 max. So interval training is one of the best ways you can improve your VO2 max.
Got it. Fair. I'm gonna give this a shot and
Yeah,
send you a screenshot of how it looks.
Definitely.
Right. Great. Thanks, Avinash, for coming all the way from Sanjay Nagar to Indranagar. And thank you. I'll probably host you again at some point in time. And at that time, probably you're working with the Indian team, not with the Ranji teams. Right. Looking forward to it. I hope this is fun.
Yes, I really enjoyed. I think there was a lot of good questions out there. I think which I wanted to put it out there. I think you just covered it all. I think there's nothing else I would have been wanting for.
Yeah.
I think this was a great show. I think you guys are doing a great job. I think everyone should watch their content. I think it's really great.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.